All right, guys, welcome back to the Left Side View, and we have Amitabh back with us today. So, Amitabh, how are you doing?
Hi Rahul. Hi guys. I'm back from my vacations. I could not be part of the last couple of videos. So hope everything's good at your end too. Uh, in this podcast, we'll start off with the midweek review of the matches that happened in EPL. So let's just try dive into it. On Tuesday, Arsenal Wolves match was postponed due to COVID distractions. The other match was Crystal Palace against Norwich, which Palace won 3-0. Um, Southampton drew with Tottenham 1-all. There were some controversial decisions in this match that we will discuss. Then we had Watford hosting West Ham. They lost 1-4. And finally, the big game of the night, Leicester defeated Liverpool 1-0. So let's start with Palace against Norwich. Rahul?
I didn't see the match.
Okay, so in this match, Palace has not been faring well of recent, more recently. So, and Norwich has been sliding pretty bad of late. So, I think the results were along expected lines with an easy win for the hosts. Moving on to the Southampton match against Spurs, Salisu was red carded in the 39th minute. Ward-Prowse opened the scoring with a lovely goal on 25 minutes, and then Harry Kane scored a penalty. There were some controversial decisions here. Rahul, would you like to take that up?
Well, yes. So, Harry Kane scored another goal, but then VAR accidentally disallowed the goal. So that was the question: like, should that goal have been allowed or not? And uh, I think it was incorrectly judged to have been. I don't think that the decision was correct. I think that was a goal, and again, uh, Tottenham should have won that match 2-1, in my opinion.
But
What do you think?
I'm sure they drew the lines and everything before deciding the offside, right? So when
That's
that
the thing with VAR. I think it's just so inconsistent. I don't know. But yeah, you have to take into account that, ever since Conte has been there, he's actually, in a way, stabilized the ship. I
yes,
think, yeah. And there is, again, pressure that is just building on Ralph Hasenhüttl. He's had a couple of decent results. I think he managed to beat West Ham 2-3, 3-2 away, and now this draw at home, even after going down to 10 men in the first half. So yes, the fact that they managed to hold on, I think that's a decent result in itself against a team like Tottenham.
yes. Again, coming back to VAR, I think with the offside lines this season they wanted to make the lines a little thicker, but again, armpits or stuff like that came into the way. As long as the technology is consistent, and I think technology is always consistent, so there was no human error here, but there will be always people who will be saying whatever is not being put to practice, that is better. Had it been the naked eye, of course, the chances are higher that it would have been a goal. But if technology is saying that it's not a goal, I think it's the same for everyone. Okay, moving on. Watford again in the relegation zone. West Ham actually defeated them 4-1. West Ham lost, as Rahul just mentioned, the previous game 2-3 at home. So it was sort of a nice bounce back for them. Um, Watford looks really in huge trouble. Let's see. There already have been thoughts if Ranieri should be shown the door. I know it's just 2 months for him in this position, but the performances have not improved, at least not improved to the level that they had hoped initially. So pretty much along the expected lines this match. Anything you'd like to add, Rahul?
Yes, I think this was a Watford's first match in a while. I think they've had a couple of matches postponed because of COVID outbreak. So again, because of the fact that they were back after a little while, after eh, a break of sorts. So obviously you couldn't really account for uh, who was fit, who was not fit. because the players hadn't really played in a while. So I think that also played a huge part. But yes, now that this game is behind Watford, maybe in their next match, the players will have more of an idea in terms of fitness. Which player stands where. So let's see. And like I mentioned earlier as well, that because obviously West Ham had lost the game prior to this, so they were in a way more motivated.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe Watford were a little ring rusty for this match.
Yeah.
Okay, so the big one for the night, Leicester defeated Liverpool. Adama Lukman scored in the second half. Again, Liverpool missed some very easy chances. I have to admit, and Leicester played resolutely. It was a replay of the EFL Cup quarterfinals last week, which was again a classic. And yeah, happy days for Brendan Rodgers getting one over his previous club. Um, Again, the Klopp, Klopp was fuming over some of the decisions, and yeah, it was just one of those things. Again, the biggest beneficiary of this result was Manchester City. They have opened up quite a sizable lead at the top. But yeah, I mean, one of those days when Liverpool just could not score a goal, in spite of making, doing everything that they could have done. Players missing pretty simple chances. Yeah,
Yeah, so I think I had mentioned in the last podcast, that this is a very crucial game for Brendan Rodgers, because of not just his form in big games, but also the team's form in general this season. So Brendan Rodgers, I think, really, really needed this win. And if you take a look at the team sheet, you will see that it was actually a miracle that Leicester managed to win with so many injuries and players, out. Uh, I think a couple of youngsters were there, or maybe some players who hadn't really played much in the starting 11 started this game, and Leicester, it was just like all hands on deck. The fact that they scored one goal and then it was all about defending that lead. And the miracle was that a lot of teams try to do this, but almost all of them don't succeed. But in this situation, Leicester, I think it was more like the players were playing for the manager. So yes, that's what I would say.
yeah, yeah. Well done to Leicester. Liverpool, better luck maybe next to next time because the next match they have is against us. Okay, on Wednesday, oh my God, this is tough to say. We drew against Brighton. Lukaku opened the scoring. Welbeck managed to equalize at the extra time of second half. Brighton actually looked in control of this match for quite a large chunk of the match. We were somehow. I really don't know. I mean, yes, Reece James got injured. He hobbled off. There was an injury to Christensen as well. But somehow the biggest problem that at least I could see was there was just no understanding from the forward to the mid to the defense. They just did not know what to do, what they had to do as an individual and what they had to do as a collective. Right. And yes, Brighton played well. They are a good team. We have to say that. I mean, I was a fan of their performance last year as well, though the results did not match their performance. But as far as we are concerned at home, this should have been an easy win. And somehow we are just not clicking right now. And there's not one thing that we can blame. Anything tangible. It's just like everybody has lost their heads and they don't know what their next step should be. It is a bit of coaching, it is a bit about confidence, it is a bit about tactics. Obviously luck has been like against us with the injuries and the COVID stuff, but yeah, I mean, we thought we were over the line, but then again, we were not. They scored in extra time, but the performance was not up to the mark at all. At all. Um, from the match, Reece James, yes, he has a hamstring injury now, and he
Yeah.
is looking to be like out for 2 to 3 months based on first round of tests. Another thing was Chilwell had a successful surgery yesterday. So let's wish him the best and hope he recovers well. Rahul, what do you have to say about the match?
Well, like you mentioned, the game started. It seemed like we were not playing against Brighton. We were playing against prime Barcelona for some reason. Uh, like Graham Potter and Brighton, they've taken 2 points in a row now at Stamford Bridge. Last season, on the day the whole Super League fiasco panned out, a nil-nil draw, and now 1-1 draw. Danny Welbeck, of all people, seriously, former Manchester United player, he scored such a late equalizer, and this was actually Brighton's first goal at Stamford Bridge.
Yes.
And to be honest, because of the fact that I knew the fact that the longer it stays 1-0, the longer there's a chance of Brighton scoring an equalizer. And this is what happened. I actually felt like the moment Tariq Lamptey went off, former Chelsea player, maybe then things will get better because the timing just seems so right. As soon as Tariq Lamptey went off, Tuchel introduced N'Golo Kante. I was like, maybe now this is the time that we'll finally be able to hold on to a lead, which seems so, different to say. So sounds so ironic that we're talking about Chelsea's defense in such terms. Just if you just look a month or two ago, we were in such a different circumstance. And yeah, like of all people now, Tuchel wanted to give Alonso a rest, but then Reece James got injured, Christensen uh, injured or re-injured his back, and that same injury, because of which he was out earlier, flared up again, and he you could see that he was not okay already in the 28th or 30th minute, but then he continued to play till the end of the first half. But finally, second half started, and it was Trevor Chalobah who came out. Uh, I mean, just imagine that. I know that we don't try to make this, a Chelsea podcast, but then there are so many points to talk about here. That already we had one wing back or left back, Chilwell out, and just having one uh, piece of the puzzle out made such a difference. And now we've got both Reece James as well as Ben Chilwell out, and we could already see that uh, Christian Pulisic, who was playing as a wing back or has been playing as a wing back now since the injury, has been struggling. It's like uh, in the 3-4 games that he has started as a wing back, he has totally looked anonymous. And again, obviously, it's not his fault as well, because if you remember, initially it was Callum Hudson-Odoi who was in a way the second choice right back behind Reece James, but now in a way Callum has made the left wing position his own. So it's actually Christian Pulisic who is now playing as a wing back, and he has been just struggling so much. So let's see, and because obviously the problem is not that Reece is injured, but now the injury is again something that would keep him out uh, for almost 3 months. So I don't think that in this case we need just one wing back. We at now in a way need two wing backs.
Yeah, yeah. Actually, you are right. It was the injury to Ben Chilwell that actually started the imbalance in the team, so as to speak.
The downfall, yeah, in a
Yeah,
way.
and that affected our form and then the poor run of results. And now the
And COVID and whatnot.
with Reece
Yeah.
again injured, so the whole way that Tuchel wants to approach games, it has been like everything's in a disarray, and of course we have to make some intelligent purchases in this transfer window. Coming to the match, there is one observation that I have that I mean, I think I mentioned it in one of the previous podcasts as well. Somehow I feel that Ziyech and Pulisic, these players are not protected enough by the refs. And again, this is not a case of sour grapes. Um, I think there was a perfectly good shout for a penalty when the Brighton player kicked Pulisic in the shin. And again, this is not a Chelsea podcast, but I am sure of at least three teams in the league who would have surrounded the referee like anything. and at least pressurized to get the decision in their favor. And maybe we were not able to do it. Maybe we have to learn to do it. I'm not saying we are all saints. Our players have also pressurized the referees in the past. But again, the thing that bothers me is when it comes to Chelsea, VAR is so quick to reject or to come to a decision. I mean, had it been, I mean, I have seen other matches as well, and there have been instances when something which is pretty obvious, they have like checked it and rechecked it and rechecked it, and then they have arrived at a decision, and sometimes at the wrong decision, even after checking it for so many times. But when it comes to us, right from the Maguire against Batshuayi case,
Mhm.
Maguire handball against Aspilicueta, I guess,
Yes.
the goal line one. And
Mhm.
I know that we got the, we got the decision in our favor when Rudiger and Son, they sort of collided, and Mourinho made a huge deal out of it. But there was a slight kick from Son in that match. But I mean, again, that should have been a pen. I mean, that should have been at least checked properly. They were so quick to arrive at their decision. And then there was a case where everybody knows now that when you are trying to play the ball, you do whatever you have to do, and then the offside, the linesman will declare whether it's an offside or not. That also did not happen in our case in one of the. And I'm not saying this is the reason we dropped points. So we missed again some sitters.
Yeah.
Uh,
Again,
but
like it should have never come to that. It should have never been just 1-0 till the 90th
yeah,
minute.
yeah, but
This.
again,
Yeah.
there is
Sorry.
the consistency. I think is again as I was talking about in the Southampton Tottenham match. As long as the lines are of the same thickness for everyone, you are at least sure that the same result, the same outcome will be there for all the teams. But with this human input, I I think we have been at the receiving end of some wrong decisions. Let's hope things get better
I
in
do
the
have
future.
one more point to make, if it's okay.
Yeah, yeah, please go ahead.
So I've been thinking about this, ever since the match. So we take a look at Manchester City and the players that they have. I think almost all the players that City have, they have been signed by Pep Guardiola. Let's take a look at all the players that Liverpool have. I think almost all the players that they have been signed by Jurgen Klopp. At Chelsea, the signings that Thomas Tuchel has made, only three. Marcus Bettinelli, a third choice goalkeeper who hasn't even played a single game. Saul
Mhm.
Niguez, a loan signing. The less we talk about him, the better. But there's only one signing in a way that Tuchel has made, which is Romelu Lukaku. Other than that, the 10 players that are starting behind him, they are not Thomas Tuchel signings.
Yeah.
So that's something that we need to take into account.
Yes,
Again,
and again, we have to like remember that it is not even 1 year since he has
exactly.
assumed this position, and
Exactly.
yeah, so I just hope, and especially with the recent developments, which we will discuss in the next podcast, the way he has handled the situation, the ups and the downs, and he has faced his share of ups and downs in 11 months now. So I think he is one for the future, and the club should actually tie him to a longer contract just to show to the players that this is the boss and you have to abide by whatever he says. So even
I
when,
agree. Like
yeah,
that's also I think what I'm trying to say here, that no matter what happens, Tuchel should not go. That's all
yeah,
I
yeah,
am
yeah,
trying
yeah.
to say in a way.
Yes, because we know that Klopp and Guardiola took their time before they were able to, develop such a strong attack-minded team. And if we give the same amount of time to Tuchel, I think we are already on our way there. But of course, he wants the resources that every coach wants certain style of players. And right now, as we just mentioned, that there are just three signings he has made for the squad. Um, Okay, moving on. The next match of the night, Wednesday night, was Manchester City away at Brentford. They won 1-0. Foden scored a goal early in the first half. It was a pretty uh, dominating, maybe is a strong word, but compact performance by City. Brentford played well in spells. Um, they have like given a great account of themselves. They drew against Liverpool. Sorry. And even the match against us, it was a pretty closely contested affair. So the crowd played their part. And yeah, again, one of those away matches that one has to win in order to win the championship. Anything specific that you'd like to talk about, Ram?
I think the goal was really nice, by Phil Foden. I think Glenn Hoddle, I'm not sure if it was Glenn Hoddle. I'm pretty sure it was Glenn Hoddle who said that in a way it was a dig at other young players that he's doing everything, that someone like him should do. But the difference is that he's got an end product as well. I think it was a dig at Callum Hudson-Odoi. I think he's got like what, 4 goals in 4 years in a way, Callum Hudson-Odoi. Like I think I read a stat that it's like 1 goal in 365 days. That's his average. And I mean, obviously, he's the youngest to, in a way, I think get 10 assists. But in terms of the end product, yes, he is lacking. But yeah, let's not compare Callum with Phil Foden. But yes, I think it was a very, very cool goal from Phil Foden at someone, uh, from someone like him who's just 21 years old.
Yes, yes, it definitely was a great goal. Chip over the shoulders and just one
Yeah.
touch past the goalkeeper. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, on Thursday, Everton against Newcastle match was postponed. Manchester United won 3-1 against Burnley. Okay. Uh, there was some tension in after the previous match of Manchester United with Newcastle 1-1. And yeah, I mean, in the past 3 matches, United have faced Norwich, Newcastle, and Burnley, all the 3 teams in the at the bottom of the table, and they have managed to get 5 points out of this. I mean, I don't know. If you look at relative performance, maybe they performed better. No, no, 7 points. They defeated
7 points.
Norwich.
Yeah.
7 points, yeah.
Yeah.
So if you compare the relative performance, yes, their performance was better last night. But playing this 4-2-2-2 formation, um, let's see what happens. Not all the players are happy with it, with the murmurs that we have heard, and especially Bruno Fernandes and the likes of Ronaldo. They don't like, coming back and doing the defensive side of work. And to play in this system, you actually need a very young and vibrant team who are ready to run. And let's see, he started off with the formation that the team was comfortable in, but now he is slowly trying to get them into his philosophy. Um, Again, tomorrow the transfer window is open, so let's see the kind of purchases that United does in order to improve their squad. He actually benched Fernandes for the match yesterday and played Cavani alongside Ronaldo and
Sancho.
hmm?
Sancho, I think he
Yeah,
played a
Sancho,
part as well.
Sancho,
Yeah.
Sancho played
I
yesterday.
think
Yes.
obviously if you take into account the fact that obviously we didn't talk about the United versus Newcastle game, but then yes, uh, uh, I think the draw against Newcastle also played a huge part. But then I think that he's reading again too much into the draw against Newcastle because like the logic that we applied, for the Watford game, I think even the game against Newcastle that United had, I think it was also their first game in a while because they also had a couple of matches postponed because of COVID outbreak. So again, it does take a while, for teams to in a way catch up, with their fitness. So maybe that's another reason why they got a draw plus Newcastle now. Obviously, I think I just had a feeling that Eddie Howe would at least get it right in at least one of the big games, which in a way he did against Manchester United. But yes, I think the reason why I'm saying that we or Rangnick read too much into that game is because yesterday when they played against Burnley, things went back to normal. So yes, the fact that they managed to win 3-1, I think what more can you expect against Burnley? We actually drew against Burnley, so they had a better result against
Uh,
Burnley than Chelsea did.
yes, yes, yes. Let's see what happens with the squad right now. Because when you have a coach for an interim coach, he's there for 6 months. Again, the question of how seriously is he being taken by the squad, by the players, that arises, and the performance that he demands from his team. Right. It is a very intensive formation. And hard-working players are required, fast players are required, young players are required. And right now, I'm not sure how many players are ready to do that dirty work. So good for Manu. They won. That brings us to the end of the EPL for the midweek. Uh, Rahul, you'd like to take up the Portuguese league as well?
Yes. So I know, guys, that we keep saying that it's a European football podcast, but yes, we haven't really covered Liga NOS or the Portuguese league here. But I think I would like to start with the big news in Portuguese football, which is the sacking of Benfica's manager Jorge Jesus, who was sacked. So I did, a lot of reading up and I watched their matches. So Benfica have lost their two matches in a row. One in the league last night, and then before that, one was in the Portuguese version of FA Cup, the Taca de Portugal. So they first lost 3-0 to FC Porto, which triggered the sacking of their manager. And last night, even with the new manager, they again lost to Porto, this time 3-1. But obviously, it was not just these matches in the league. It was the manner of those defeats, because in Portuguese league, I think it's all about winning all the other matches, which all three of these teams, Porto, Benfica, and Sporting Lisbon, are doing. So when you take that into account, then the matches that these teams play against each other become all the more important. Uh, I think now uh, they are, I think, 7 points behind the leaders, and Porto and Sporting are joint top. I think Porto have a better goal difference. They are both on 44 points. Another reason why, like I mentioned, that George Jesus was sacked is because of his record in the big games. Uh, Earlier in the season, Benfica also played against Sporting Lisbon at home, and even in that game, they had a humbling. They lost 3-1 at home to Sporting Lisbon. So that was another reason why this decision was taken to sack George Jesus. But I think he's not going to be out for a job for a long time. I think he's already on his way back to Brazil. So let's see. But yes, we wanted to take this and talk about the goings on in the world of Portuguese football and Portuguese league.
Okay. Thanks, Rahul, for that update. With that, we come to the end of this podcast, guys. We'll be back with a podcast where we'll preview the weekend matches in EPL and in La Liga. So that's it for now. Thank you so much for your time. Bye bye.